Hi everyone, we'll get started. If the fire alarm is activated, please vacate the offices via the stairs opposite the lifts in the foyer. Please do not use the lifts. Assemble in Hawley Square on the green and officers will assist you and advise when it's deemed safe to return to the chamber. Could everyone present please ensure that their mobile phones are switched to silent and that they are not used to make or receive calls in the chamber whilst this meeting is in progress. I would advise that if filming takes place, anyone in attendance in the public areas may have their image captured. I urge anyone filming proceedings to avoid filming members of the public, particularly if there are children present. Does anyone intend to film the meeting? We've got two members who want to speak under 20.1, so Councillor Bright speaking under item 5 and Councillor Yates under item 4. Is there anyone else? Okay. Welcome to this meeting of the Joint Transportation Board. Since our last meeting in June, Councillor Finch has been invited as Vice Chair. Are there any apologies for absence other than Councillor Garner, replaced by Councillor Munns? And are there any declarations of interest? Okay, yeah. Thank you. Just remember to turn your mics on if you're saying something so we can hear. Thank you. Just one more time, any declarations of interest? Nope. So on to agenda item 3. Do members agree that the minutes of the Joint Transportation Board meeting held on the 5th of June 2025 be approved and signed as a correct record? Can I please have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Scobie, and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Crittenden. Do members agree? So agenda item 4, the KCC Highways Work Programme. Do any councillors have any questions or comments on the report? Oh, yes, sorry, Rob, do you want to come? Councillor Yates, do you want to come in?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it was just to thank TDC and KCC officers, specifically for the externally funded scheme funded by the Active Travel Fund, which is on Hartsdown Road. It's going to be a zebra crossing with works due to start on the 9th of February next year. So this is a kind of a zebra crossing connecting Hartsdown Academy with Hartsdown Park, and it's taken just over about 2 years following a meeting with residents and students at that school. So this has involved TDC support and extensive support from Lizanne Kazar from the Active Travel team at KCC. So I just want to specifically mention thanks to her because following a site visit, they realised that this is actually quite a dangerous location connecting a park with a secondary school. And when I did a site visit, I went with the deputy head, Ian Wallace, and we literally saw kids almost getting hit by cars. So yeah, this is a really important one, and I'm really glad this is going ahead. So I just wanted to send all my thanks to officers and councillors for their support on this item tonight, because I think it should be a really beneficial scheme for everyone. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Is Councillor Crittenden?
The road that runs from Minster to Cliff's End, bearing in mind the amount of development that is going on at Cliff's End at the minute, we're looking at another sort of potentially 500 houses. There's an awful lot of traffic now using that road that runs from Foxborough Lane right the way through Grintle Hill, Coddington Road into Cliff's End. I mean, I know we've got the 299 at the top, but a lot of people are using that. Now, that road is deteriorating to such an extent now at the edges that people are swerving away from the edges in there. There's going to be, we've had one fatality already where a guy was knocked off his push bike. Now there's nothing scheduled for that until 26, 27. We have the normal way of reporting. We've been reporting on the portal for potholes and so on, but this really is the deterioration on both sides of the road in many areas along that stretch. So I'm wondering if we could have a word with KCC Highways just to see if we could hurry that up a little bit. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Councillor Davis?
And without wishing to rattle on, because it crosses our boundary, I'd like it noted that we say the same thing for Cliffs End, because we don't know the outcome of the public inquiry into the Cottington Road development, but we are under siege, as you know, and there's another 400 come forward on the other side of the village. To be honest, anything to do with those bottom lanes and with stuff in the village, it needs to be prioritised, as Councillor Quittenden said, for safety purposes, because I've been through there today and it's getting worse. So we don't want to sound like whingers, but if we could be perhaps prioritised, it probably would be in the public interest and safety. Thanks.
Great, we'll take that back. Thank you. Councillor Mole?
Yeah, just to follow on from that, I'm meeting some residents in the first week in January, just to go through the road with them. They're concerned about their speeding. I've said I'll have a look at it. We're going to try and get, once I've seen that, we're going to try and get some speed, look at the speed on the road that's going along there at the moment, because they're saying it's over, like bikes doing wheelies and everything else, and the chicane. So we are going to have a look at that, and we are looking at it now. Okay. Cheers.
Okay, if nobody's got any further comments, we'll move on to, this report is for information only, so please can councillors note this report. Thank you. Agenda item 5 is the parking and waiting review. So Councillor Bright would like to come in on this one.
Thank you, Chair. Very briefly, I think looking through the proposals that have come through, I agree with all of them. I am disappointed that so many of them are on junctions, and people shouldn't be parking on junctions anyway. So it just feels like we're almost reminding people of what they should already know, in that it's best not to park inconsiderately. I think finally, just to say, I really encourage, there's a few in here that I recognise from councils reaching out to me and getting in touch, and from residents too, that are now coming through to be approved, and then they will be double yellows. So I just ask all councillors in this committee and in the broader council just to reach out if they can't make an application online, just to reach out to me so that we can bring restrictions forward to this committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any councillors have any questions or comments on the report? Yes, Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Katie. Ironically and unusually, Councillor Bright and I agree on almost all of this. However, I'd like to draw attention to the section to do with, sorry, trying to think of the name of the road, Ramsgate Seafront, outside Wetherspoons, Harbour Parade. It's proposed to do away with the waiting bay there. There's a loading bay, which is quite an important loading bay, because it's not just Wetherspoons there. You've got the businesses on the other side of the road, Peter's Fish Factory, and a couple of licensed premises, who obviously need to be able to get their deliveries, etc. The rationale behind doing away with some parking bays on the turning circle that are incredibly heavily used. In fact, it's almost impossible to ever get in down there. So the loss of revenue there would be really substantial. And I don't understand the rationale, because it says that there has been abuse of the parking facilities. Well, that's one of the, I've got to be careful here so I indicate who it is, although I'd love to, because there's a certain business down there who thinks he owns the pavement and thinks he owns the road, and has been abusing the situation by him and his staff parking on the painted roundabout in the middle of the road there. That shouldn't be good enough justification to cause the amount of inconvenience, especially to those with limited mobility, and I am one of those with a disability. The lift, although it's come up on the asset list, has not been repaired and isn't available. The whole of that side of town, and people from the East Cliff, to access any of those facilities, or in fact the real access onto our beach, have to use vehicles. And to put a red zone there is just not thinking of people, and I know there are those that would love to pedestrianise everything and kill off the vehicle and have us cycling and walking everywhere, And I guess in an ideal world that probably would work. Unfortunately, some of us have legs that don't work properly and so on. And there's quite a number in Ramsgate. So I would please say, my understanding is this has all got to come to consultation and for consideration following whatever we say tonight. Is that right?
Yes, so it will go out to public consultation after tonight.
So people will get a chance
Yes,
to...
absolutely.
And I'm sorry
This
to
is
be,
the first
you know,
step.
quite so vociferous, but I do think that's a sledgehammer cracking a walnut. And why should one rebellious businessman cause all that inconvenience and loss of revenue? We've already lost masses of revenue in the Pier Yard car park because of the compound for the clock tower. I'm sorry, my my meds are kicking in on the keep spitting tonight. There's a lot of revenue being lost there. We don't need to lose this revenue to solve the problem. What we need is the wardens to turn up, ticket those responsible reliably, and eventually they'll get the message, especially because seven fines a week would probably be a fair disincentive to them. But it's certainly not the public from most of it. I live there, and I don't live in Wetherspoons, I hasten to but I am a regular user of the facilities there and have dealt with quite a few of the residents there. And this would impact also on residents of Kent Place who have already got very restricted access, and if they're having a delivery, they often have to use the loading bay on the main road. So I think all of that, but again, if there's a chance for consultation, we can all make our views known.
There is absolutely consultation, and that's the next step, but just for clarity, the loading bay does remain. The loading bay won't be removed. No, the loading bay remains. It's the paid display parking. I just wanted to clarify the loading bay.
Thanks, Councillor Davis. Can I also remind you that it's Councillor Pope in this room and not Katie? You keep referring to me by my first name.
My apologies, Councillor Pope.
Is there any further comments? Councillor Mole?
If we know they're parking there all the time, why aren't we claiming the revenue by sending the wardens down there all the time?
We do. They're there regularly. It's on our hotspot list. We do ticket them. They still park there. So, yeah, we are doing that.
Why don't we just let them carry on parking there then? Because we could do with the revenue. That's got to be £160 a time.
Because they're parking on a roundabout and it's not appropriate.
Can the police not get involved and turn them away?
Councillor
Sorry.
Councillor Mole, it has to go back through the chair if you've got other comments to make. Do you want to come in?
Can we not get the police involved and get them towed away then? That'll stop it.
So the police don't do the towing away. There isn't a tow away power. The police are aware. Obviously, their resources are limited.
Okay, one last comment from you, Councillor Mole. Thank you.
If they're parked on a roundabout, the police must be involved. There's an offence to park on the roundabout, so I think we need to speak to the police, upgrade it, and get them in there. I know you're upset about it, but we need to make sure that the police are doing their job properly.
She said that they're aware of it, so thank you. We'll take that on board. Councillor Mons?
Oh, hi, yeah. So on the Botany Road proposal, sorry, it's echoing.
Forget it's there.
That's probably it then. Thank you. It's good news for the residents of Botany Road, but my concern is we're pushing the problem over to Percy Avenue, George Hill Road, and onto Knockhart Road, Sandhurst, and that's going to be a big problem.
So I didn't get to my introduction, but what I was going to say was this is our starting. This is our starting point, and we're going to go out to public consultation on this. If the board today want us to add something to the public consultation, then we can do. But yeah, this is our starting point, and we're anticipating the public feedback to give us that, which will then enable us to go a bit further, potentially.
Councillor Pope, can I? Sorry. Oh, that's good news, because I think Otherwise, A, I'll be lynched. But B, I mean, we had the infamous blocks at the end of the road, which actually helped quite a lot. They helped. The idea was not about parking, but to improve traffic flow, which this is what will solve the problem. But the bus route through Sandhurst and Knockholt, it gets stuck, as does other choke points. So, thank you very much, Penny. Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Shonk.
Thank you. The Harbour Parade Road, I've been speaking about that for the last 10 years. If KCC and TDC got together, when they turn right at the Burger Bar, there's no sign to say it's a cul-de-sac. It is. So you get such a build-up of traffic, there's nowhere for them to go other than that roundabout. We've got to work with these cars and vans because they are bringing lifeblood into Ramsgate. But a sign there in the summer months or now to tell you it's a cul-de-sac. Can't go no further. I tried to stop KCC blocking that road off to the old marina because that would have alleviated all that traffic. It would have been going along to the old marina swimming pool. 10 years I've been talking about it. It just makes things easier for KCC, TDC. Why can't we have one simple sign to say cul-de-sac? On Sundays, everybody's down there, motorbikes, there's nowhere for them to go. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this was raised last time, and that the sign is a KCC issue, so I think it needs to be raised internally at KCC. So, but we can make a note of that. Councillor Davis.
Thanks, Councillor Pope. What I wanted to ask, and it's really for Penny, and I know we've had, or I believe my colleagues had many conversations about the junctions around Chiltern School in particular, top of Saxon Road, where, again, agreeing with Councillor Bright, we shouldn't be parking onto corners. However, in the absence of yellow lines on corners in Thanet, it seems to actually be an advert to stick your front wheels on the curb, your back end in the middle of the road, and everyone else. What procedure do we need? Because I welcome these, but I would really like to see, there are some real problem areas that we've highlighted. Would we still be able to bring those in for consultation at this point on this project, or how can we get those raised properly? Because we have tried, but it seems to be either not reaching you or falling on stony ground.
So we've got a form on the website, complete form on the website. It goes into our system. So these are up to what date?
So, yeah, these are up to the end of September.
End of September. So anything that's coming after September,
Right.
we'll then work through.
Because I do recall you, I think it was Brenda Rogers was having a chat with you on it. But,
so anything that's coming after September, we will then
and that
put
will
forward.
find its way through the system, so we haven't got to do any more or anything.
No, if we've already put it through, then it will come through. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Unless,
Thank you,
obviously, I will just clarify that when we look at it, if it's not deemed appropriate, then obviously it doesn't make it to you, but there will be feedback to whoever put it in. So we would let Councillor Rogers know that.
There's one or two other areas, like I noticed that the pavements are being addressed in Westcliff Road by Vale Square.
Yes.
There are massive problems on the narrower side of Vale Square with people just planting on corners and things. And in fact, I had to call a fire engine one night where a moped had been set alight, and they ended up having to run the appliance on Crescent Road and run hoses down to where the conflagration was. If that was one of those beautiful houses or somebody's life was at risk there, it could be a real problem, because you can't even get, once the wrong uns are on the corners there, you can't even get an ambulance down there or anything. So it's hard enough to get a car. So I'll make sure that those have been added as well.
Yes, because anything you've got, you can put them in at any time of the year. It's just on our parking pages.
But if we can put it into the system.
then you can put it in, and then Bryn looks at them all.
Thanks for that clarity, and sorry for
okay.
being a bit. Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions or comments on the report? Nope. Did you want to make a proposal with Councillor Munns about increasing the yellow lines onto the other roads? Do we do that bit now? Is that what you said? Do you want to make a proposal to do that? Yeah? So So if you can just say that you'd like to extend the yellow lines into which roads, we'll get a seconder and then we can vote on it. And then it will be that we send that recommendation forward, so.
Okay, in that case, yeah, I'm on the okay one. I propose that we look at parking restrictions on the adjacent roads to Botany Road to improve traffic flow. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Finch. Do members agree? Nice, thank you. So members are asked to consider the proposals set out in Annexes 1, 2 and 3 of this report and make recommendations in relation to each proposal, and to note that in relation to each of the proposals recommended for consideration and implementation, a process of statutory consultation will progress with the results of the consultation being presented at a later date to the board for consideration. Can I please have a proposer? Councillor Davis. And a seconder, please. Councillor Bright, thank you. Do all councillors agree? Thank you. Jay Bright. Okay.
That's me.
Yeah. And that concludes our business for this evening. Thank you for your attendance.
Just one point, could I?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to remind anyone that there is a consultation open as to regards the yellow box junction at Marine Terrace near the clock tower. Please feel free to put your points across. Thank you very much.